Hi, I'm TK, your neighborhood CFO. That's Chief Financial Officer. Large corporations, small companies all have the secret weapon is CFO. This person helps decide money flow, helps frame strategy. Are we able to pay our bills? Are we able to make the next investment? How are we going to grow? Bring that whole financial picture together. You probably have a person like this in your household or have had at some point, your parents or your grandparents or someone who knew how to pay the bills, how to make ends meet when it was time for the car or moving from one apartment to another or into a house. Someone figured out how to save the money, get a down payment, do the transaction. In the business world, the money person is the CFO. So I am coming to you as the neighborhood CFO because this information, this skill needs to come into each of our homes because this wealth gap happening in the world right now, it's increasing and it's ridiculous. The system that is meant to be abundant for all of us is really getting worse, this distance between the haves and the have-nots. The haves have all of this knowledge, CFO type knowledge from their companies and businesses, and the have-nots live in communities that are underserved. And I'm talking about working class, the common man, the me, and the you, if this pertains to you. We're going to take back our personal finances in a way that we become more abundant and our communities can become more abundant. The framework is the 5C framework. It's looking at cash, credit, compassion, community, and creating companies. These 5Cs attached with current technology and AI will have us leapfrogging the people who are trying to oppress us and keep us down. This is CFO money moving talk. I'm going to help us all get there. You're going to help us all get there because community is what makes it happen. This is Thrive Wisely. I'm TK and I am your neighborhood CFO. So I know firsthand about the financial system working in corporate America up through CFO roles. And I know firsthand about the middle class squeeze. I spent years in corporate America, climbing the ladder, getting promoted, different roles, different companies. And I got to the point where I was just working all the time. And I was by any measure successful, except it was taking me a lot of time and it was taking my joy. Like I would sit up at 3 o'clock in the morning at the dining room table, getting ready for an 8 o'clock board meeting, which you knew wasn't going to go well, watching corporate decisions be for the benefit of shareholder value, but maybe not the most moral ones for the employees or whatever other reason. So I've seen how these systems work and how they work at the corporate level and how they impact personal lives, including my own. And so I left corporate to become an entrepreneur about 8 years ago. And even in this system, you see the squeeze even more. I just sold my home and moved because the property taxes went up so much, I couldn't even afford the home that I lived in anymore. Taxes are going up, fees on cards, interest rates are going up. And another example that just happened, you have to keep your outstanding credit to less than 30% of your available credit. So if you've got $10,000 credit card, then don't spend more than 3,000. Okay, or if you have $1,000 credit card, don't spend more than 300. And I was doing that. I had this one credit card I had since college with Chase, and it had a $25,000 limit, and I had used 7,000 of credit on it. But whatever happened, maybe I was late on a bill and they reduced my credit line from 25,000 down to 7,000. What did that do? That took my available credit limit, which gives me a good credit score, from under 30%, 7,000 out of 25,000, to 100%, because they took the limit down to the 7,000 to 100%. My credit dropped like 70 points overnight. That is the system. I did not do anything differently. I have been paying on this credit card for decades. Loyal customer, always on time, except for forgetting an incidental here or there. That the system does that and has the power to do that on a drop of a dime, it leaves us all vulnerable. And again, I'm your neighborhood CFO and did not see that coming. But now I've experienced these things so that I can also share them with you. It is very important to keep your available credit low. But even in doing that, they can change the rules of the game. So we have to continue to be smarter. Okay, what are we doing in our savings? Or don't even use that credit that much, or have a credit card someplace separate that you don't even touch. There are strategies. We'll get into that when we get into credit, one of the 5 C's. But I say all this to say all of us living in this society have our own stories and may not be able to frame it or understand what has happened in the system that's gotten us behind the 8 ball. So now my interest rates, my ability to get a home equity loan, all these different things changed and happened when that credit score happened, which wouldn't have happened had I stayed in corporate, probably making a lot of money. But then a part of this whole conversation in the 5 C's is compassion, living the life of lower stress, of compassion, kindness, caring for your neighbor, for your fellow man. And you also have to pick the career, the lifestyle that brings you peace of mind and joy. Now, matching up the amount of money you make with the amount of joy you have, that's what this 5C framework does, because money isn't going to buy you happiness. And I'm telling you, again, knowing from experience, it will buy you conveniences, and these things will make you temporarily happy. Yes, for sure. No doubt about it. Okay, it's good. I don't have anything against cash. I'm all for it. At the same time, it's spending and using cash wisely so that you're living a healthy life, a happy life, a life that God rewards, one that's make you proud, that you're proud of, in a way that you have peace of mind and you have your needs met. It doesn't require the greed and hoarding that this crazy system is rewarding right now. It's unnecessary. And that's the one thing about bullies or hoarders. They're not going to change without intervention. We are our own intervention. Okay. And I think more and more people are having experiences where you may have had a lot of money, and then now because of the system, you don't have any, or maybe you never had any and cannot see a way out. It doesn't seem the same, but it is the same. What's happening right now, the systematic levers that they're putting in place that can keep a community, keep not just the individuals, but whole communities down. It's very convoluted. That's the smokescreen, actually. It's simple when you think about it. And that's what we're going to learn. We don't have to know everything that they're doing. We just need to know what are the rules of the game? How does the system work? Which is what I'm going to tell you. And we're going to start using the system the same way they do. Okay, we're going to be aware of those things. Messing up a credit score, it's just lack of awareness. People don't know. They're like, oh, I got a credit card for $500. Let me go charge this whole thing up. No, you just didn't know. Nobody told you. So it's okay. That's the compassion part. Give yourself grace. Everything that happened in the past is in the past. And now we're going to do things differently. This is an awakening story. It's been an awakening for me. And I'm a finance person because the culture has changed. And when the culture changes, the systems change, everybody's adapting. We all need to adapt, and let's do it together. Okay. So we're going to be getting into the 5 C's directly. Don't forget, if you're anywhere interested in financial liberation and literacy, we're going to be diving deeper. We're going to have a workshop next month. So you will know when we have our workshops and activities so we can beat the system that's trying to beat us. Listen, no one is coming to save us. No one. And this realization is good because this means we are going to save ourselves And all we have to do is go deep within us and excavate that courage and power that we have always had to create our own solution and victory. So it's very eye opening in a way. It's, what's the word? Emboldening. It makes me happy. That so now if we're here to save ourselves, how are we going to do it? We've been promised that this is an abundant universe, that, and it's true that there is enough out here for all of us to live a happy, healthy, fed, housed life. But the system has been skewed. So it's important. The first thing that we have to understand is that it is an abundant universe, but we're dealing with a man made system that has skewed the outcome and distribution to a few versus to all of us. And we're living in a time where it's totally gotten out of control, which is why I am here as the neighborhood CFO to help us break through some of this crap and noise in our own homes with real tools that's going to help each of us and us rise as a community. That's the whole point. So let me go over some things to help show you how this system is not designed for us to win. It's built to keep us underpaid, undereducated, and as a beast of burden. And we see that with a lot of things that have just been passed. They're cutting education, cutting assistance programs. How is it helpful to cut ways that help feed people and house people? But health care, and we're increasing policing and breaks to the super rich. Nothing has changed. It's getting worse. How does that help me? And none of that's helping me. None of that's helping the average working person. And so here's how we know that I'm just not making this stuff up. And AI is a great tool now. You don't have to just Google things. You just open a thread and keep the conversation going on personal finances and thrive wisely. And that will help each and every day. That's your first big tip. Open up, use AI to ask and answer some of these questions, not like Google, but it is in a more strategic way, because because it's learning, it can take your questions and anticipate, or at least be on the ready for your next question. So this is how you know the game is rigged. The top 1% of US households own almost 1/3 of all the wealth. And the bottom half owns less than 3%. So that means 1% of all the households. So out of 100 households, one of those households holds 30% of all the wealth in the country. It's hard to imagine, but here's another one. The 400 richest Americans control more than the bottom 60% of Americans combined. So America is about 340 million people. 60% of that, 680, let's call it 200 million people. 400 people have as much wealth as 200 million people combined. That's how skewed the system is. You understand? Just let that sink in for a minute. Okay, so this is just to show you. Now, that's not a natural system. There's a couple of systems. Here's another point you can put in your pocketbook. There's a Pareto system. It's called the 80-20 rule. Like 80% of the effect come from 20% of the causes, or vice versa. So this isn't the 80-20 rule. This is a small percentage owns everything else. Okay, and this isn't a normal distribution. That's a bell curve. These are two distributions you would hear and you would think might be somewhat normal, which is a bell curve, and most things are in the middle and the average, and there's some outliers here on the ends. But most of us will be right here in the middle. No, the way that wealth is distributed in this country, or even in this world, is that there's just a few people that just have all of this up here, and the rest of us are down here. How do we normalize that curve? They're not going to change it, because this wealth keeps contributing to the richest people. It keeps adding to the wealthy and taking away from the poor. It's the reverse Robin Hood. So no one's coming to help us. How do we help ourselves? How do we flip the script? How do we beat the system that wants to break us? This is just obvious madness when you really think about it. Okay, solving homelessness in the US would cost 10 to 30 billion dollars a year. Yet the top wealthiest Americans gained $1 billion a day last year. Homelessness could be solved in a year. There's that much money held by so few people. They could actually say, let's solve homelessness. Let's do it. That's not happening. That because why? It's a mentality. People want to keep theirs. They earned it. If you can earn trillions of dollars, and some people earn nothing. We'll look at the word earnings later in this ecosystem that we're building. And just $6 billion, less than 1/2 of 1% of Elon Musk's net worth, would feed 42 million people worldwide facing starvation. 42 million people facing starvation could be handled by like less than $1 to Elon Musk for him to just feed people. So we know that the system is skewed because this isn't in a natural order of things. This is a mindset that is living in this country today, in this world today, that it's really like economic abuse. It really is. It's unnecessary that so few people have so much wealth and so many of us are struggling day to day. The housing market, the transportation, and we're going to get more into the specific numbers. There's sort of formulas that are out there for healthy credit scores, for healthy ways to manage your money that we haven't even been taught in our households, but you're going to learn here. So we're all going to know and be able to make those adjustments, or at least teach our kids to make those adjustments and make this a longer term game. And if we do it together collectively as a community, the change is going to happen so fast. Yeah, in the next 5 years, we're going to see everything turned around. I promise. So I just wanted to just point these out. That's not coincidence. This wealth disparity, this economic gap, it's not coincidence. It's designed this way. So we'll talk about compassion. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's a systemic issue that is getting worse by the leadership and people in charge that are rich and want to get richer. And it's going further and further away out of the voice or the hands of the common person. We're all just people. Actually, that's another thing I say. Why do they say rich people are elite? They haven't done anything. They're not athletes. They just have money. Lots of it inherited, lots of it stolen. So rich people aren't necessarily elite. We want to change that. They're just rich. They just have money. We can call them wealthy. Economic wealth. Okay, so we too have wealth, value, abundance, and we're going to turn it into coin. We're going to get the coin to go along with our God-given abundant value that we already have. Okay, I hope you're with me on that. Well, let's take another quick look here at how this plays out by race. Median white household wealth is $250,400. Median Black household wealth is $27,100 versus $250,400. The median Latino household wealth is $36,050. And in some communities, like Jewish households, wealth is often 5 to 7 times that of white households, driven by generational transfer and a culture of ownership. Okay, we're going to be talking about generational wealth and a culture of ownership. That's one of the 5 C's. Create companies. Again, these are secrets hidden in plain sight. They're not even secrets. They're ways or systems of being and creating wealth that have been obscured from us in underserved communities, and they're cutting education. We're not getting exposure to these things. Here with Thrive Wisely, we're leveling the playing field. So keep those ideas in your mind. We're just going to do what everyone else is doing to earn the wealth, take back the abundance that's been promised by our ancestors, by God, by consciousness itself. We are all here to have life and have it more abundantly. And that doesn't just mean materialistically, it means in inner peace and fulfillment and contentment. And it's hard to do that when you're chasing the dollar every day long. So this is holistic financial literacy. Okay. Now, when you zoom in to cities, geography, the federal poverty line is $31,200 for a family of four. That's about $15 an hour or $2,600 a month for a family of four, not one person, not a single person, a family of four. Another type of formula for how to manage your money to not pay more than 30% of what you make to rent. Very hard to do. So 30% of this amount is $780. Can you get a place to live for a family of four for $780 that has space and comfort and a yard and or whatever for you? It's hard to do. It's virtually impossible. But we're doing it. We're having to live in these ways that aren't sustainable and they're not healthy. And they're unnecessary with all of this wealth that's here in this country and in this world. But imagine that's what we're living with. So families are left scrambling to cover food, health, transportation, and school. This is where we are now. In cities, let's look at it. Cleveland, which is where I live, more than 30% of residents live below poverty, one of the highest rates in the nation. In Chicago, which is where I used to live, 1 in 5 residents in poverty concentrated in disinvested neighborhoods. So, in many words, underserved, disenfranchised, disinvested neighborhoods, these neighborhoods where there's not a lot of property tax, so they're not investing in the schools or the streets. So that means the education, the businesses in that area, it just becomes a not easy place to live because the services aren't there because they haven't been invested in. It's a cycle that we're going to break. Washington, D.C., which is where I'm from. My parents still live in the house that I grew up in. About 15% is the poverty rate citywide, but over 25% is east of the Anacostia River, which is where I grew up. These sources are the Census Bureau, Urban Institute, Brookings, and Economic Policy Institute. So again, we've broken this down by wealth, by race, by geography. The skewing of the distribution is obvious. You can go do your own simple research and you will see, ask it in a question in the way that you would understand it if this didn't make sense, but you got the seed of the disparity. You just need to know from this that this gap is not accidental. It's intentional. And because it's intentional, we have to start playing a more intentional game. We have to start playing chess and not checkers. Again, it's not difficult to do. It's just lack of exposure. But now we're getting the exposure. You're going to have it. I just wanted to have a little bit of encouragement here. We have to remember from where our power comes. The same power that delivered the Israelites out of Egypt more than 3,000 years ago, that carried African Americans out of slavery just 160 years ago, that sustained survivors of Hitler's Holocaust less than 80 years ago. That power is still alive. It's still working today. And you see these time frames in history of these tragedies, these revolutions, these oppressions, this colonization. It happens historically, it happens over time, and it also unhappens. Okay? That is what we also have to keep in mind. So we have a swing coming back that we're going to actually be able to come into our ancestral inheritance. It is a happening. It's in this new thought understanding. It's in consciousness. It's clear. Also, because what's going on now is becoming so drastic, so obnoxious, it can't help but then swing the other way. It's the law of the pendulum. We're going to talk about the next time and from here on out, the 5 C's. The 5 C's are cash, credit, compassion, community, and create companies. This is how we're going to get each of them in actionable today, right now. This is Thrive Wisely. Stay with me. Your neighborhood CFO. Don't forget to and follow and subscribe. Scarcity is a lie. Abundance is our nature. It's our natural state. Join me August 31st at Renaissance Unity of Northeast Ohio, where we're going to talk about the unity consciousness of abundance, how we live our lives in this worldly setting where materialism and hoarding has become an issue. I'm going to talk about the 5C framework, and this is how we're going to align the material and the non-material with compassion and through love and creating this abundant environment that is just being hijacked by the system that wants to obfuscate and subvert all of the good and kind intentions that the universe has for us. Join me August 31st, Renaissance Unity of Northeast Ohio. We're going to follow that up with the free workshop in September. So be sure to follow so you'll get details when that is announced. And finally, in October, we're going to do a 3-week workshop on all of the 5Cs in more depth. Join us, bring a friend, join us online, and just prepare to change the world by just changing ourselves in a more abundant, compassionate way and to break through the systems that are trying to break us. No one's coming to save us. This is our time. This is Thrive Wisely. I'm TK, your neighborhood CFO.